VMGM. Hey, this is Vagobond Media. Good morning. I am CD Demitio, joined by my co-host Riona Morgan. She is amazing. You're amazing because you're listening right now. And Riona, how are you today?
Good morning. Good morning. I am so great. Hello, everyone. I'm Rihanna Morgan. I am editor in chief of Vagabond Magazine and community lead at Page Dow, and I'm so happy to be here with all of you. And I can't wait to get going. What are we going to talk about today? It's going to be so great.
See, this is why you're amazing because you always bring that kind of energy. I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you. No, I love it too. I mean, I'm always so excited to have these conversations because I get so zeroed in on what I'm doing throughout the week and throughout the hours, and I can sink into a project like nobody's business. And then here, I feel like I'm coming up for fresh air, and I feel like I'm coming up and I'm just like, "Oh, wow. What's going on?" And because we're building and creating all of these amazing things, and so yeah, no, I love this space so much. It's like my best friends all getting together to talk and share. So thank you, CD.
Hey, you know what? I love it too, and I can't believe, Rihanna, like how fast time is going this year. Like last year, really, with the bear market, maybe last year just crept. It was like one of the slowest years of my entire life. But this year, like I looked at the date today and I was like, holy cow, it's February 27th
I
already. Like we're
know.
almost into March. And when we talked about doing, four issues a year with Vagabond magazine, March 21st seemed so far away. And now I'm like, oh man, we got to get going. We got to get this issue in production
I know.
quickly.
I know. And I actually have some really good news. I reached out to a poet in the space to talk to them about writing and celebrating poets and poetry for this new issue, and they said yes. And so they're just working on seeing who they can curate and see. And so they're not official yet, so I don't want to say who their name is, but as soon as we get that going, we're going to celebrate that. That sounds so exciting.
It does sound so exciting. And what we're going to focus on in this forthcoming issue is going to be looking at what it means to be a digital citizen because we're all digital citizens at this point. Um, and speaking of that, I want to make sure. Okay, Edward Carpenter's up here as a speaker. We've got George Odd Writings is up as a speaker as well. Edward, we sent you a co-host invite, and I see that you accepted it. That's perfect. So, yeah, we're looking at digital citizenship and what it means to be a digital citizen, and how we can sort of, you know, embrace that reality without losing who we really are. Because that's sort of the danger. Like, it's so easy to fall into the computer, fall into the virtual worlds, fall into the whole rabbit hole of everything that we do and just lose ourselves. So there's a lot of that. And by the way, I should also say that we're looking in the first part of March to do a space. I think we're going to do it on Zoom, but it's going to be just talking about mental health and like keeping yourself sane in what seems to be a bull market emerging where everything goes up, and keeping yourself sane and all that. So we're going to have some amazing speakers. We're going to do that. We'll give you more information on that as time goes on, but I'm monopolizing the mic. Edward Carpenter, how are you today, sir?
Edward is connecting.
Well, George, how are you?
I'm connected.
You know what? When I look at
Guys
odd
hear me?
writings, yes, we got you now, Edward. When I look at odd writings, I always think that's a connected man. He's a made man. Edward, how are you? We're glad to have you back.
I'm good. I'm doing my usual, running on a couple of hours of sleep. But no place I'd rather be. A lot of great things I've already heard. To hear that poetry is going to be featured in Vagabond is music to my ears. I'm went to bed actually last night thinking to myself about what I want to do with arts and poetry. So the next issue of that will be coming out presently, but the call for submissions will go out. And I think we're going to look at doing a issue that is focused on minimalism. And then some of the other issues this year will have themes. And one of the themes, just based on I saw a piece of art from one of my friends who does watercolor as her base. But I thought watercolor would be an interesting theme for both artists and poets to obviously take watercolor images, but give poets sort of the prompt, write poems about water, write poems about color, write poems about the intersection. So, yep, very excited to hear that. And I think it's spot on the idea of having a specific discussion about how to manage your mental state in the ups and downs of a bull market. And yeah, just really looking forward to today's conversation.
Yeah, you kind of nail it with that. I mean, with the ups and downs, because we always think like the hardest thing is to lose, but actually when you're winning, it does some weird stuff to your mental state too. And it's really important that we get all this stuff out there and let people know what signs to look for, how to take care of themselves. We really just want to make sure that we don't have tragedies or people suffering. That's what we're looking to explore getting rid of somehow. It may be impossible, but we want to do our best. Cryptoversal Books, we are always so glad to see you. Dude, how are you?
Dude, I am so good. It's a good time, and so happy to be here. And this is always the high point of the week, and I'm here to learn and to share, and just hang out with just the coolest people in Web3 publishing.
Well, as always, you guys, the kindness always chokes me up a little bit and sort of like takes away this voice that I'm so good at just like saying things, but sometimes I'm like, oh, yeah, we love you guys being here, and we love that you guys are listening. And look, if you're listening and you'd like to come and join us, we do this every week. We try to do it on Tuesdays. That's usually when it happens, and we usually are doing it on X. And the reason why is because X is still a place where if you want to join us, we can just bring you up on the stage without you having to do anything but just raise your hand and say, hey, I've got something to share. So we're going to stick with that for a while, but we are exploring always the possibility of other platforms and things like that. So we touched on it, but these markets, and especially the crypto markets and the altcoin markets, what are you guys thinking right now? What are your thoughts on all of this stuff?
I'll be happy to go first. My one of my thoughts, and it's something I still need to implement myself, but it's one of those things that can't be put off indefinitely, is this would be a great time to audit yourself, your own crypto accounts, and see where you're at, and think about the idea of capping the downside. So, for example, I know that I bought some Ethereum and Bitcoin when they were about half of the value of what they are, maybe less. And so if I was to sell off a bit of what I bought back at the low of the bear, I would essentially cap the downside to, even if I completely missed the next sweep, I would not lose anything, and everything would be kind of gains from there on up. So that's one of the things I'm thinking about, and something also especially to do with the small altcoins as they make a bigger move, perhaps.
So much wisdom in that, and so this is something. So I had a little bit of Bitcoin, and I thought that Bitcoin was going to pull back, but I looked at it, as you said, and I sort of thought, you know what, I've got some gains right now, and I sold. And while it's painful to watch it going up, the other thing that I'm looking at to temper that is, I'm like, you know what, I sold and I'm up. And if it drops, I don't have to worry. And that is such a nice thing. But it's always nice to keep some exposure when you do that. And this time I kept with just a tiny little bit. Riona, are you watching these markets at all?
I am. I am. I a year or so ago, I thought, I'm going to put in $10 a month, whatever. I'm going to do that Coinbase thing where I can just put in like $10 a month into Bitcoin or whatever, and just, see how it goes and just see what it is. And then, if I can pull some out and buy some ice cream all around for everybody, or if I, maybe, I don't know. And so, or if it gets crazy and I can buy a plane ticket someplace, that's amazing too. And so really I'm just, I am a risk averse person. I'm not excited about huge risks. And so I never put myself in that position. Um, when you look at it now, and you're like, wow, it's up to 57,000 or whatever for Bitcoin, and you're like, geez, man, I really wish I would have. But you can't do that to yourself. You can't. That's not fair. That's not treating yourself with grace, and that's not treating yourself with understanding. I think it's really better to just say, this is what I'm okay with doing. And if it all plummets, I'm okay with that. Like, I would definitely, it's entertainment right now for me, the $10 a month. I mean, that's going to the movies, or less, going to the movies is crazy expensive these days. And so, that's where my comfort level lies. And so everyone has to really define that for themselves and know, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with what that is. And um yeah, and so I'm not a great person to be like, oh, crypto investor, because I just don't feel that brave. I guess, I don't know. I mean, there are some people who are so brave, and but then there are these big plummets that happen in their world too, and I just don't like that kind of feeling, that kind of sick to my stomach sort of, oh no, what have I done to my life and my family and things like that. That would just never be a situation that I could feel comfortable putting myself in. And so, yeah, and I'm super excited for the uptick in all of these things, and I'm super excited to see the growth and the excitement centered around this, and I'm so excited, but I'm most excited for the influx of people. I'm so excited for the benefit that people are going to start seeing. I'm so excited for people to come join us and see what we can do with the digital lifestyle. You all are the best friends of my life, and I've only ever met two of you in real life. Like, you all mean so much to me, and that to me is the ultimate gold, the ultimate Bitcoin, the ultimate, you know, award, prize, lovely, lovely, beautiful thing. And so, um, yeah, you all are why I come every day and build in this space, is to be with you and for you, and to help you and other writers, and so other builders, other creatives. So I don't know, does that help?
Yes. Hey, and you know what? I've got a small present for you, for all of you guys, if you're interested. If you're not interested, it's okay. But I've always liked going to the movies. You mentioned going to the movies and saving up and how expensive it's gotten. So I've always enjoyed going to the movies. And in I think it was 2018, there was a thing came out called Movie Pass, and you could sign up for like $10 a month, and it would give you unlimited free movies for the entire month. And it failed miserably because movies are expensive, but it came back. And now it's $10 a month, and they give you a certain amount of credits, and you can go. So I pay $10 a month, and it gives me basically enough credits to go watch two or three movies in a month. One if it's like prime time movie, or two if it's like matinees. And I like to go to the movies, so I use this thing. I pay $10 a month, and I get to see two or three movies in the movie theater. And I also have the rewards card for the movie theater, so I use that when I'm buying the tickets. And when you do that, because I'm seeing two or three movies a month, you actually get like credits. So once a month or so, I'll get like a free small popcorn or a small popcorn and drink. And where I'm at, if you go to the movies, even a matinee, the movie theater down the street from me, it's $20 for a ticket, for a regular ticket to go see a movie, and then you're paying $8 for a small drink. So this is a great thing. So if you guys are interested, reach out to me. I will send you a movie pass invitation, $10 a month if you like to go watch movies. If you don't even worry about it. But it's their offer. Cryptoversal, I want to hear from you on these markets and things, because I know you've been kind of deep in it and experiencing some sort of, I think from conversation we've had in the past, some kind of new emotions attached to this. How's it going?
Oh, it's going good. I've always been a little skeptical of cryptocurrencies in general. I avoid Bitcoin because of the environmental impact of proof of work calculations, and avoided Ethereum until it switched over to proof of stake. I tend to view the currencies as if they were what you might need to change your money into if you were visiting another country in order to buy things in that country. So if you're visiting the land of Ethereum, you need to buy some Ethereum, and then you can buy all kinds of wonderful things that are available in Ethereum land and take them with you when you go home. And the idea of these currencies as an investment, I'm skeptical, as I said. But having gone through these cycles, having seen a couple of cycles that coming in to a bull, going through the bear, seeing the start of what might be another bull, I'm seeing the pros and cons. I'm seeing the pros of the bull cycle bringing in a lot of energy, which brings in projects and excitement and investment and makes wheels go round. And then the lack of that is like having the gears grind to a halt. And if you want to keep building through the bear, you really have to push and really have to work hard because there's nothing lubricating those gears anymore. So I can now kind of see a little bit more of a nuanced view of it. Um, it's tough though when you're releasing, say, a book and you want to price it and you put what you think is a fair price on it in Matic or in ETH or in on Base or whatever, and then the currency that you've priced it in doubles, and now whatever you've listed for sale, if you haven't been paying attention, if you've it's now unrealistically priced. It's not priced at what you want it to be. So I think for me that's a con, um, for the uses that I put it to. Where if the purpose is to put out books and be able to price them for readers, readers need to you need to have more constancy and less fluctuation than what I see in a lot of these cryptocurrencies. But that's just my personal experience.
God, that's a really good point. Go ahead, Edward.
Well, so that raised an interesting question: is whether going forward, we as writers and as the people who are probably going to kind of design the future of the space should think about listing our offerings or tying our tokens to stable coins as opposed to making them these floating speculational currencies. The other thing was that the environmental stuff is really interesting, and I'm very environmentally focused myself. But one thing that I am not sure that I've yet seen is a comparison with what the fiat currency economy costs versus the Bitcoin or the crypto economy. If you take into account all the buildings that house banks and all the employees and the cars they drive and the number of transactions sent around, a lot of people, it's very easy sort of to quantify, the processing power of, say, mining a Bitcoin, or back in the day when Ethereum was still mined. But when you ask people to quantify the cost of the current system, it seems that they're maybe it's much more complicated to do, and they're much less interested in doing so. So just a thought there. But yeah, that was my 2 cents on that, I think.
Wow, like how much carbon are those armored cars that are moving around putting cash in ATM machines actually spewing into the air? That's a crazy thought, Edward. I've never looked at it that way. Really cool to know. Cryptoversal, go ahead.
Yeah, I know you could always make those calculations, and it's kind of funny because actually, in the town where I live, we have sort of a controversial town seal, and a few years back, a bunch of us put forward a proposal to get a committee to look into changing the seal, and the committee would be volunteers. It wouldn't cost the town anything, and they would come up with a proposal of yes or no, and the people who were opposed to changing the seal were bringing up, well, what about the cost of the electricity to light the lights that's in the room where the volunteers are meeting, and the cost of the janitorial services to come in and empty the trash barrels after the meeting, and the cost of heating the space, and it just got little pennies and dimes and just ridiculousness, for just, we could get a bunch of people together to meet in a room and talk about this issue that concerns people. So, um, yeah, you can make those, people can make those calculations, and people did make those calculations of, how many pennies it would cost, and, don't want to waste a single penny of my taxpayer money to go toward this cause that I don't support, even though, friends and neighbors may support it. So, but it's getting off topic. But yeah, just the world of economic comparisons.
It's a little off topic, but I loved it. I loved hearing it. Like I like small town people quibbling about the pennies that it costs to change the liner in the wastebasket. That is an awesome perspective to share. Speaking of perspectives, the one person that we didn't hear from about the current crypto situation and everything that's happening with positive situation, I might add, is George. What are your thoughts on current markets?
Well, I think what I tend to do nowadays, given my budgetary situation, I view these bull and bear cycles as more influential on the technology and the enthusiasm surrounding the technology, kind of like what Riona said. Uh, if maybe 10 years ago I was investing here and there in different things, and during that time I learned that if you buy something and then decide to sell at a certain point, what worked for me was right after I sold, I would not look at the price of what I had sold for like a month. Because you're just asking for trouble, right? I mean, just forget about it. Just say you sold it at this point, and then don't worry about it. Concentrate on something else, and that's a good, I think, a good mental health thing to keep in mind. This time around, I'm basically kind of I'm watching from the sidelines. I'm not again because of the situation I'm in. I'm not. It's just not wise for me to do it, I think, at this point in my life.
Edward, the mic is yours.
Yeah, just want to make a little observation. One of the things that I found very interesting, I first got into crypto versus NFTs because I listened to Balaji Srinivasan and Tim Ferriss talk about where they saw the global economy going. And I was doing just kind of a strategy of just buy a little bit every month as sort of a hedge. What I discovered where I made all my money in crypto throughout this complete cycle was when I did things like I wanted to participate in the Sol type economy. So I just went and bought like $100 worth of Solana back when it was a few dollars, I guess. And I think that there's a few tokens where just to participate, and I think I may have done it with Book.io, I'm trying Cardano, just bought a handful of tokens just so I could access some literary thing. And the rest of them sat unused in my Coinbase. And then I happened to look back, a year later, and even after all the ups and downs, they're way up. And when I saw they were up to a certain point, I'd cash out a bit, and I'd still have more than I started with. And I think I've done that with a couple of the meme coins too. I think Shiba Inu, which was like a clone of Dogecoin. I think I bought $100 worth of that just to see what could possibly go right. And every time it went through one of his little spikes where Elon Musk said something, and my $100 had turned into $400, I sold 3 of it and just kept the others and watched it drop again and kind of recycled it. So that's one thing to think about. And right now I think my Page DAO tokens, of which again I just bought I think 1,000 Page at some point just to participate in the economy, gifted some of it away to a couple of people that I said here's a way to get into the organization. I think now if I looked at where it was, it would have 10x its value or something, but not trying to sell that anytime soon. But yeah, I think a lot of the interesting stuff actually may happen on the margins, but also you can't do everything that's out there. So pick something you're comfortable with, and don't let FOMO get the best of you. That's my advice.
That's super advice. And congratulations on all of those coins. So it's funny, you actually, let's see how. So I used to be an actual gambler. I used to actually gamble on a regular basis, and I surprised a lot of people because I did very well with the thing that most people say you always lose at, which is slot machines. So I used to love slot machines. I would go into a casino, and this was back when they actually had mechanical slot machines. The electronic ones I've just never trusted. I stopped as soon as the electronic ones came out. But I would go into a casino with like $100 in my pocket, and I would start to play. And I would always play the second largest denomination. They always had the 5 and 10 and 20, but I would play the $1 slots with $100. And my rule of thumb was every time my balance went significantly above my initial $100, I would cash out and then I would put $100 back in. So I would put all the cash in one pocket that I cashed out with, and I would just play until I lost the $100 or I got tired playing. And I would regularly walk out of the casino with a fair amount of money in my left pocket just from the winnings, but the $100 in my right pocket completely gone. And that, I think, is the method that you just described, Edward. Is like keep playing with that $100, but don't play with the big money, the money that might actually like make a difference in your life. So I'm not advocating that anybody gamble. The electronic machines, they are bandits, and I don't recommend that you go into it. And the cryptocurrency casino is also a bandit, and so be careful. But I think that your method was really good there, so I enjoyed that. Do any of you guys gamble? Do you make bets or do any stuff like that?
I love poker, and someday my goal is to write an algorithm. Like if you were going to teach a computer how to play poker pre-AI, when you had to actually just give it a set of rules. That's a book I'd like to write as I play it someday. Interestingly enough, the poet Katie KHD, you'll sometimes see her around. She used to be a professional poker player, I believe. So we've got some interesting folks in the literary ranks of Web3.
Yeah, in fact, speaking about that, I've seen videos. She's released. I don't know if they're still up, but I'm talking about Katie Dozier. She had some videos up on YouTube. I don't know if they're still there, but somebody either was her or somebody else filmed her doing some online poker stuff. And it's one of these things where it's like amazing. She's got like 10 different windows open, and she's going like this, and she's playing like 10 games at once. It's just this it was just amazing, and there were pretty large values of money beneath each game. So she's like a real professional, and then turns out she's a really great poet, so and a great person to know. So
Absolutely love Katie. She is so cool. And I just want you guys to know if we ever get together, I don't want to play poker for money with any of you because in person I am the world's worst poker player. My face gives away everything. I'm a terrible liar. I'm a terrible poker player. So if you can get me to play, you're going to win, but please don't. All right, so we're going to wrap up the VMGM section, but I do want to hear from all of you guys in terms of let's have some predictions. This is just for fun. It's not financial advice, but what are your thoughts? Everybody that's on the stage, we'll go Riona, Edward, Odd Writings, and then Cryptoversal. And what are your thoughts on the Bitcoin market and the Ethereum market? How high do you think these coins are going to go, or do you think they're going to go lower? Go ahead, Riona, you first.
Oh gosh. I feel like that this is only the beginning of going up. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's going to exceed where it's been. I feel like it's going to go up from here. You read the articles about the halving and all of that kind of stuff, and I just feel like that maybe we're ready for this next trip, and I just feel like this is only the beginning.
Was it me supposed to go next?
Yes, sir.
I think that the easy thing is that, yep, they're definitely going to go down, but I can't tell you when. So I think that my advice is to, like I said, cap your downside if you can. Invest a little something as you go along, whatever you can afford. As it rises, just keep an eye on it. Look at where past peaks have been. Expect that it's going to be a saw edge, but I think we will see that we are in the beginning of another bear overall. But I also say, look hard at the general financial climate. It's shocking to me that U.S. interest rates for houses are at 8.5%. Back when I bought my property in the 2000s and through the early 2020s, it was much lower. So look at what the various fundamentals. Look at what's happened with food and climate. When the farmers are rioting in Europe and Ukraine can't sell its grain and the Red Sea trade is being blocked. Don't think that these won't have effects on the market. That said, I think a lot of the effects are driving us to have markets that are fairer and more transparent and more easy to negotiate. And I think that crypto brings some of that to the table. So bullish in the short term, but in the long term, everything falls. And when there's blood in the streets, buy land.
Okay. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say that everything's gonna keep going up until Christmas and the New Year. And once the New Year comes upon us, then during that month, things will go down roughly 25%.
All right, I'm going to say, and I'm a horrible gambler, by the way, for good or for bad, Bitcoin is the ocean that raises all the ships. And the advantage to that is now your ship is high, but you have to watch out for the coastal flooding.
A Cryptoversal, I love that. You made a prediction without making a prediction. It's beautiful. I'm gonna say that we are. First of all, Cryptoversal, you're a terrible gambler, just like me. So maybe we can play poker, but we'll not let other people play. We'll just do it for comedy, so that they can watch. Okay, so in terms of Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think that there's going to be some market euphoria going on until about midsummer, and then I think we're going to see a serious dip. A lot of people are going to panic and sell, and then I think we'll do what George said and head on until Christmas. But I do expect to see the wave sort of dropping at some point. But I'm more wrong than right in this stuff, so don't take that or anything that we've said as financial advice. Do your own research. Don't take financial advice from people that you wouldn't take real money financial advice from, and all that stuff. So that, you guys, is the end of the VM GM portion.